Alright, jumping right into this video, we're going to go over the earliest and the simplest method. You probably won't get a lot, but this will be the first and easiest method. And this is just in case you're trying to get the ancient recycler so you can actually start producing relics. So upon hitting level 22, you have the option of getting the PAL Expedition Station. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have already unlocked this station as it's a fairly low level one, but the main focus here is just basically doing anything after the Astral Frost Cavern, as this will give you ancient civilization cores as a reward. Now, obviously, the higher your pals and how many pals you send will give you a higher yield, but this is going to be the earliest and simplest, most passive way of getting it. This will take quite a while. I would say easily like 7+ hours to get the cores doing it this way, as it's usually pretty passive and not reliable. But if you've been doing this since the beginning of the game, then you very likely have built up a few cores, or even better, maybe even some slab fragments. This brings us to our next method, which is going to be doing the boss fights with fragments and or hollowed bars. Now, just as you saw a second ago, going into these expeditions are going to yield you these ancient civilization cores, but also they will give you a possibility of getting these slab fragments. Literally every single one of the options after the secret realm of the forest will give you the possibility of getting some form of slab fragment, and each of these have a possibility of dropping ancient civilization cores. Obviously, the higher the level of these you do, more likely you'll get more slabs. As you saw here, I was able to get 3, which is almost enough to go face off against Blazemut Ryu, which will give me some ancient civilization cores. Now, I'm going to show you a handful of locations within the ice zone as well as the floating island zones where you could go to get some of the slab fragments or the entire slab itself as a drop option. Over here on the floating islands, you can go here to the Crystalline Archipelago, and right here in this little hill here, you will find an entrance to one of the caves that could drop a slab. There's only one here, so it's not many, but this is one of the options. And then for the option I recommend is basically doing anything in the Frost Dungeon area. As you can see here, I have quite a few marked, so you could, in theory, go ahead and go to these locations and get the slabs. I'm going to hold it here for a second just so you guys can actively copy it down. And if you enjoy these quick to the point guides, consider leaving me a like, comment, or even better yet, subscribe. Still trying to grow as a small creator, and your support actually helps quite a bit. Finally, within this method, and probably the best, would be doing the Hallowed Bar method, which will craft you another boss key, which will be located here at the Sealed Realm of Terraria. I'm going to zoom out just so you can see where it's at, just south of the lava area. And if you come into this region, I would highly recommend bringing a tool and plenty of ammo. And as you kill things in this region, you will notice they will drop plenty of hollowed bars. And whenever you dig out the walls as well, as you progress, you'll get hollowed bars. Take down the boss will give you hollowed bars, as well as opening the chest will give you hollowed bars. When you make your way back to base, you'll see that you have the ability to craft celestial sigils. This will give you the ability to face off against the Moon Lord boss. Now, the Moon Lord boss is relatively strong. I believe he's like level 50. But I would say, generally speaking, if you're looking to find these ancient core fragments, and you're probably strong enough to take them down. And every time you defeat this person, it's going to give you anywhere between 3 and 6 of these ancient core fragments. So as long as you've gotten at least like 500 of these through the Terraria dungeon, which I was able to get 600, you're more than capable of getting this if you get even the worst rolls. I would just use my celestial sigils, take down the boss, and then after that, use the ancient cores that I have to make the relic crafter thing. Now for our next method, this is going to require access to the Royal Tree area, and this one is going to be a little bit more passive. Basically, what you're looking to do in this region is simply fly around, and you're looking for these scrap piles that's pretty much everywhere all over the map. This can be found in pretty much any zone in the World Tree, and as long as you're just actively flying around, you'll see them. When you pick them up, you have a pretty solid possibility of actually getting ancient relics here. So you can see on screen now, I was able to get a few from it. And then I opened up another pile, which you probably saw a second ago, and I was able to get even more. Now, while this isn't the best method, it is a pretty solid method because you're very likely going to be picking up ancient spheres when you open up chests and open these things up. So you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You actually get pal balls that can be used to basically get better pals. But all in all, this is going to be the second to last method, as it's not as reliable but still pretty decent. And for the final method, this is going to require that you actually have the ancient relic recycler. And this method is extremely simple. What you're doing is you're going to be floating around in the World Tree area and actively just taking down as many pals as you have in sight. You're just going to be a madman. You're going to be taking them all down, just killing everything. And ideally, you're going to be aiming to take down all bosses that you see on the map, as well as they have a higher chance to drop even more higher rarity relics. There are 5 rarities of relics that can be dropped: uncommon, epic, legendary, rare, and common. So you're just looking for as many as you can get, and once you finish just killing everything that you see, make your way back to base, come to the ancient relic recycler, and then you're going to utilize that and world tree holy water in combination and turn the power on, and then eventually it's going to craft up a ton of ancient civilization cores, as well as implants and other valuable things like fruits, manuscript manuals, blueprints, and schematics, and just pretty overall valuable things that you can use for progression for your character. All right, and there you have it, guys. That's all the methods that I know of that should give you access to ancient civilization cores, some passive, some active, and generally these should be the best methods to get it super fast. I try my best to be respectful of your time so that you can actually get in there and get it done. If you do enjoy the work that goes into these videos, consider leaving me a like, leave a comment, or better yet, subscribing to the channel. Just keep in mind, when you subscribe, it helps a small creator in a very big way. If there's any other methods you think are worth pointing out, feel free to leave it down in the comments, as it will help some other players out. As always, guys, my name is Fervor. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.